Alright, so it's been probably about a year and a half since I actually recorded anything. Uh, Once I got the ARX8 running, I just didn't feel like I was doing anything that was interesting enough to be worth recording, so just kind of stopped. But recently, a few of my close friends have been encouraging me to get back into it, so I'm going to see how it goes. I'm going to start by working on this. This is Charlie. Charlie is my house's moped. I bought Charlie about a year ago for $200, and shortly after that, Charlie stopped running. So in the past few weeks, I've been working on Charlie, replacing parts. Ended up where I thought it was weak spark, so I replaced spark plug, ignition coil. That didn't work. And then eventually replaced the CDI box, and that's what fixed it. So Charlie now runs. While I was looking for all this replacement ignition stuff, I came across something a little bit magical. This little box here, $65 worth of stuff, and it's a big bore kit for a 50cc moped. So it doubles the displacement of the moped, and it also included most of the parts that I needed to fix the ignition, so I can return those, get most of my money back, and then for just a little bit more, double the displacement of the moped. In the kit, you get full gasket set. Some of these I probably won't end up using. Complete new head, complete new cylinder and piston, which is the smallest piston I've ever seen, but the one in there is even smaller. That ignition box also came in this kit, which is why I ended up getting it, because again, most of the parts that I already replaced come in here, so I can return most of them. It's got a bunch of I actually don't know what this is. Pumps, gaskets, spark plugs, rockers maybe? Yeah, I'm not sure what this stuff is, but also a new ignition coil. This will be returned. And I think that's about it. So I'm gonna start by getting all this shit apart. I need to get this part off. This is the valve cover. This is the actual head, and then the cylinder is right here. So I just need to get all this plastic shit off, pull off the intake, pull off the exhaust, and I can get all of that out without even taking the engine out. And we'll go from there. This car is the same housemates that bought the moped. This is a new project of mine that I'll get into later. But what I'm here for, the rusty trusty tool set. I start by just pulling all the easy to get to stuff. Pull off the wire, intake. It's amazing how easy and cheap this shit is to work on. And there you go. Now I need to remove the plastic bullshit. Now I gotta pull the exhaust off, and then pull the head. Where the fuck is my 12 mil? 13. Aha. I'm gonna go grab some compressed air and blow off all the dust there so it doesn't get in the crankcase when I open it up. And then pull the head and pull the cylinder. Can't find any compressed air, so I guess I'm just gonna kind of have to blow it off. Alright, now pulling the valve cover off. That's the head, and these four those four bolts just run all the way down from here all the way down into the block. So you undo those four nuts, and then you can take off everything, swap it out. So let's get to that. I'm gonna have to pull off the camshaft because it doesn't come with the new camshaft, and that's gonna be interesting. I don't know. Ooh, this might be the timing chain tensioner. I feel like that's what that is. Yeah, let's try doing that. Maybe. But there is a spring in there, which does make me feel like... Fuck. Actually, let me just look at the new block. This is the same block, and that's what I'm looking at right now. And that just kind of goes straight through into where the timing chain goes, so that's definitely the tensioner. So if I pull that off, where's my, there it is. That should let me get the entire valve assembly off. Alright, so that's loose but not coming off. Let me give it a little tap tap with the hammer. There we go. Yep, that would be the tensioner. Now the chain should be loose, but it isn't. Let me try pulling this front fairing off, which should make my life easier. Oh, I'm dumb. There's 2 bolts left on the side there. I did not know that those were there. It's legitimately astonishing to me how small this shit can be and still move around an entire moped, let alone somebody sitting on it. Like, that's like, there's a normal sized car key for scale. Damn. And whip this bad boy out. Here's the difference between the new one and the old one. Also, aluminum piston. So, not sure not sure how long this one will last compared to this one, because this one seems to be steel cast. But with how much load these scooters have, it should be fine. But just that's the difference. So this piston currently doesn't have any of the rings or anything on it, so I'm going to assemble all of that onto it. Starting with the ones on the bottom, I'm just going to dip the ring in oil and kind of slide it on. And do the same thing for these two. And then clock all the rings so the gaps don't line up. And then this is the ring that says number 2. So I'm assuming this, I'll double check this in a second, but I'm assuming this one is the one that goes on, not the very bottom, like that. And then this guy. These two I'm also doing the same thing, so I'm clocking them so that these gaps aren't lined up with each other. And that just prevents shit from leaking. So if you don't do that, you get essentially, if you don't do that, when you get combustion here, it can just leak through this gap and this gap. If you clock this ring all the way the other way, it has to go through this gap and then come all the way around to this gap, which is why you want to clock your rings when you're working on stuff like this. Alright, this should be all good. I need the wrist pin. Got larger wrist pins with new clip-in rings. And the way this shit works is you've got a pin that's just, it connects the piston to the connecting rod, and you've got two clips that go in on the side, and they hold that pin from falling out the side. So these aren't the easiest to get in, but they're not terrible usually. There we go. I'm now going to lube up the wrist pin and then put it on the actual connecting rod in the engine. Now for the retaining clip, which is probably going to be the hardest part about this big bore kit. So as I was trying to get the last retaining clip on, I dropped it. And I thought that it was very unlikely, but there was a chance that I may have dropped it into the actual crankcase where all the oil is, which would have been very not good. So I just spent like an hour going to the store, bought one of these guys, little metal retriever things, stuck it all in the crankcase, trying to find where that clip went. Couldn't find it. Was convinced, alright, cool, it's not there. And I looked back at the video at where the clip went, and then I looked at the bike, and the clip was just sitting right in there the whole time. You probably can't see it, but there it is. I could have saved all that time just by looking around a little bit more. But oh well, at least now I'm confident that I'm not going to blow up the engine by leaving a clip inside the oil pan. I already used another clip to put the wrist pin on, so piston is fully mounted. Now I just need to put on the cylinder and do the rest of it. Alright, time for the bitch, what's it called? Cylinder to go on. So we've got the cylinder. It has a very slight taper right here, so I don't even need any kind of ring compressor or anything like that, because this will do it for me. Lube this up so I don't scratch anything as it's going in. Cylinder's on. This is new head, old head, and on the business end, the valves are more or less the same size, but you can see here that this is just flat across. This has this little tapered edge, which is what's going to make most of that difference. And yeah, that should be all good. I'm going to throw this on. Alright, that's on. Lube up the valves a little bit. Camshaft has a little bit of wear on it, like right there, but both the bearings are still good and it seems to be in fine shape, so go there. And those two should be aligned with, they should be horizontal.
They are indeed.
Be
And the
good then.
The hole is in. Like the third hole.
I think the mark is supposed to be on the top.
The mark being looks like 3 circles.
Yeah.
Okay,
I think
yeah.
that's supposed to be pointing out.
Okay.
As far as I know. I don't actually know which way it goes. Like this maybe? Because that way the letters are facing up.
I guess that's pretty logical. Well, it's symmetric, is it not?
Well, it's got that thing.
But
Does it matter? Probably not.
Yes, it goes the other way.
You sure?
The bearing, it's not centered. The bearing, I forget what this is called, like what the bearing sits on.
Yeah, but this moves back and forth.
No, this way. It's not aligned.
Yeah?
Yes.
These studs bolt this entire thing together. Like it's just a single stud that runs all the way from the block up to here.
I mean, that's how rotaries work, aren't they? Or don't they? They just have like those,
They have
like, there's like
super-
6
Yeah.
studs the whole way through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, ready? I'm happy with that.